What's going on with Latin's third declension? Today we're going to look at third declension nouns. In Latin, the first and second declension nouns are actually fairly straightforward. They follow very easy patterns. The first declension goes puella, puellam, puellai, puellai, puella in the singular, puellai, puellas, puellam, puellis, puellis in the plural. But they have that A that follows all the way through. They say the same in the stem, they're easy to spot. You know what that root word means. Girl. The second declension is also fairly easy. Sowus, sowum, sowi, suo, suo in the singular. In the plural, sowi, suo, suorum, sowi, suis. They are relatively easy to spot. Again, you just take off the ending and you know what that root word means. The third declension, however, seems more stressful. But it isn't. You will notice that it also follows a very easy pattern. The problem with it that people find is that the stem can change. And it changes slightly, but it can put people off. Here are three very common third declension nouns: rex, mercator, and canis. The reason people find rex difficult, king, is because it doesn't just add the endings onto rex. That would be very simple. However, the Romans didn't like the sound of rexem, which is what would be the accusative. Instead, they do regem, regis, regi, rege in the singular, so that x changes to a g. And that's purely based on the fact that A, it sounds nicer, they like it, and B, it becomes more common in usage. It's almost like slang. They get sloppy with how they pronounce words. Instead of saying rexem, it changes and softens to regem as we go through. Mercator does something a little bit different. You don't take anything off, nothing changes. Instead, you just add the ending straight on to that stem. That's different from our first and second declension. In puella, you take off the A and you add am. In sowus, you take off the us and you add the ending, like sowi with an I. But in this one, we just add straight onto the stem word, mercator, meaning merchant. And you will notice that those endings are exactly the same as added onto the reg stem of rex. The accusative em, the genitive is, the dative I, and the ablative e. And the same goes for canis. Canis is different again. Take off the is and you get can, which is the stem. And onto that you add the endings m, is, a. The reason they're so different is not that the Romans are annoying, it's that later scholars have grouped them together. The Romans, when they were speaking and writing Latin, didn't think, oh, I'm going to use a third declension noun now. No, their words just fell into patterns over common usage, and later scholars have grouped them together in order to make it easier for us to learn Latin. So it's not the Romans' fault. Blame some, 11th century monk. But actually, it's very helpful. You learn these endings for the first, second, third declension. You know exactly what case every noun you're going to meet is. Now you might say, how do I know? If first and second are so easy to spot, how do I know it's a third declension? Well, the really simple answer is you look at these ones, the ones in blue. Regis, mercatoris, canis. This is what will be in your dictionary. Each one will say the nominative singular, so rex, followed by the genitive singular, regis. And what that does is that tells you how to spot it in your text in the different form that it might come into. So it shows you how that word changes in all of them. The reason it's genitive is because usually it's unusual. The genitive is always going to show what the stem is plus the genitive ending. And helpfully, the third declension, is, genitive, is unique. No other declensions have is as the genitive singular. So if you see mercator, mercatoris in your dictionary, you know that is a third declension noun, so it should follow these rules. So, the third declension. Hopefully not as confusing as it seems to begin with. The stem changes are just for, aesthetic reasons really. And the ones that do change, the ones that add on the end, it's because they like the sound again. So, mercator, they don't like mercaten, they keep the OR syllable. And that's really all there is to it. But if you're still struggling with noun endings, especially the third declension, go and download my free noun endings guide from the link in the description below. It'll really help you out. It's got all the endings for first, second, and third declension in nice clear tables with all the explanations of what the cases do. What's your favourite third declension noun? It's a bit of a rogue question. I think genuinely rex is one of mine, but I do have a soft spot for mercator. Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time on bambasbat.